With that in mind, let's go ahead and wrap up the episode with our video game pick of the week. This is our, of course, main segment and why my favorite video game exists. If you are looking for video game suggestions, look no further. Listen closely and lean in to whatever you have. If you have a mic, if you have headphones, push them further into your ear. If you're in a car, lean forward, no matter how dangerous it might be, as far forward as you possibly can until you are basically planking. Because I am about to reveal my pick of the week. I've been playing a lot of games recently, here and there, dibble-dabbling, and I've been trying to do a little bit better about actually finishing the games that I've started. But one game in the last few weeks has really been my go-to as far as leisure play, and it's a game I've played in the past. So I'm not too worried about beating it. But having the accessibility on Switch has been great, and having it come into my life at this time has been awesome as a reprieve from the games that I've been playing, like Star Wars or Dark Souls 3 earlier, whenever I have more of a difficult game to get through. This is my go-to game as a relaxing, just fun little quirky game, and that is Katamari Damacy Reroll specifically. It's a fantastic little Japanese game, available on Switch now, and I believe on PlayStation 4. I should probably not talk out of my booty hole and see if it is. Katamari Damacy Reroll. Let's see, on PS4. Sign it. Nope, not on it. Okay, so it's just on the Nintendo Switch currently, and of course on previous platforms like the PlayStation 2. It's an old game from about that era. It's a bizarre concept, I'm going to be honest with you, but it's a simple execution. You're the giant, or no, you're not the giant, you're a tiny guy, but the giant king of the cosmos, who you'll see in juxtaposition to planets, is incredibly huge, has tasked you as the prince, and you're this tiny prince, only a couple centimeters tall, with filling the sky with stars again by collecting junk. So essentially, you're this little guy. The prince, or the king of the cosmos, has told you, hey, I need more stars. Because it turns out, I think, in the game, he actually ate all the stars, which is weird, but he eats stars. He likes them. He thinks they're crunchy. He's always talking about how yummy they look, which is kind of funny. The humor throughout the game, which I'll talk about in a second, is really what makes this game so charming. But on top of that, the actual execution of what's going on can be interesting in and of itself. But you have to understand this concept first. So he wants you to create stars for him. In order to do that, you have to go create junk balls, basically. And you go to Earth. So he drops you on Earth. You're this tiny little dude. If you look at the scale aspect of it, you're probably about the size, initially, of a small potted plant. Actually, even smaller than that. Probably the size of an eraser. And you as the prince then begin to roll things up. You start with something small, and as you get bigger and bigger of a ball, you begin to be able to pick up other things, and things magically stick to your ball of junk because you're the prince of the cosmos. He has sticky abilities, basically. But you move your character around using both sticks on the controller, which makes it very interesting and unique and controlling, kind of a little slippery. And as you move around and grow the ball of junk into an ever-increasing mass, you reach your goal, whatever size of the star that it needs to be, and then you present it to the king of the cosmos. The levels are timed. The king tells you at the beginning he's only going to tolerate your ability to gather for so long until he is disgusted, basically. The ball of junk then becomes a star in the sky if you complete the task in time, which pleases the king. Which is also disturbing because I'm pretty sure that means he's going to eat it again a little later. I told you this is a bizarre Japanese game, but it's great. And that's basically it. Each level, as you go through, as you roll the different things, you have little mechanics added, maybe a little bit of a different goal. Like at one point, you were supposed to just collect crabs. You're supposed to try to avoid everything else in the level. And in fact, the crabs, when they stick to your little ball, they shake, and as there's more and more added to it, there's just hundreds of little feet shaking, and it's so gross looking. It's great. Things like that add to the game's charm. The design itself the way that things stick, the different types of items, and the ways that the levels progress. They get more difficult. Time limits get longer, and then so do the tasks. The tasks get bigger. You have to make a bigger ball in a shorter amount of time, that sort of thing. And pushing around can be difficult. In fact, if you're not paying attention and you're pushing around a little too fast, you're going to push your ball into things that are too big, and other parts of your ball that you've already gathered are going to fall off, making you smaller, taking you away from your goal. So you have to be careful as you navigate. And navigation, you'll begin to see, even if you just turn on the game. It's very unique, and it's hard to describe just talking about it over a podcast. But as you roll around, the looseness of the way that you control, you have to be in sync with both of your thumbs, really makes it incredibly unique experience, something you can't really get in any other video game as far as I can tell. The fun comes in those controls, and it makes you actually feel like you're pushing on the ball and collecting junk. That's the idea they're going for. And they resides entirely in the thumbsticks. And once they're mastered, once you can master those controls, then collecting the junk, seeing that ball get bigger, becomes such a satisfaction on its own. So not only do you have the premise itself being kind of goofy and fun, the King of the Cosmos is hilarious. Everything he says, every part of dialogue is just interesting and weird. And reading it out loud is really funny. Like, my wife often comes by and sees me playing the game and will ask what the heck is going on. Then she'll read it and be like, and just laugh out loud at the ridiculousness of the dialogue. But once you start to master the actual gameplay as well, you begin to see some charm. One basic rule that you should do is try to avoid anything big, like I said. And the king also mentions avoiding anything living, but you really don't need to. Nothing bad is counted to you if you accidentally suck up a cat or two or anything like that. And I would just say it's a fantastic level sort out and amount of content. It's only probably 8 to 12 hours, depending on how much you really want to put into it. So I would say it's just a nice little snack of a game. And it's one that everyone, I think, can try. On the Nintendo Switch, you can get it right now. So that would be my pick for this week. And with that comes the end of our podcast.